Hello and welcome to New Game Plus. I'm Tim. I'm joined by Donald.
Hello.
How are you?
I am tired because it's been a massive week in news unless you're watching a repeat.
Yes.
But we've had so much happening. We've had Valve implementing paid mods for Skyrim, then revoking paid mods for Skyrim. We've had Silent Hills being cancelled. We've had all the drama in this lead up as well with Kojima and Konami as well.
Yeah, so, well, basically Konami has turned into a company that makes some arcade games and...
Pachinko. Lots and lots of pachinko.
That's
and
basically
healthcare clubs and everything but video games, it seems.
So they're not doing like Castlevania anymore. They've got rid of Silent Hills, which was looking really good with the guy from The Walking Dead and Guantanamo del Toro.
Yeah.
And it was looking really good. I was looking forward to it, and now it's gone.
You can continue looking forward to it forever.
Yes. But we do have some video game content in this episode, unlike
we do.
Konami. We have a look at Battlefield Hardline,
Yeah.
which was the big one from EA recently.
Yes, we also take a look at Xenoblade Chronicles for the 3DS.
Yeah, and we've also got a movie segment, Planeswalker Plus and Old Game Plus, where Old Man yells at Cloud.
Pretty much. But maybe we should just get straight into it. Let's get into Xenoblade Chronicles.
Xenoblade Chronicles is one of those much fabled Wii games that people bought systems for. It really was one of the
Swan song.
It really was. It was probably the last game I made. So they've decided to say, hey, we've got this new hardware. Let's make a port of it before the new one comes out for the new Nintendo 3DS. If you actually put in the old Nintendo 3DS, it just dissolves after 5 seconds, like a message, there's a beep.
I'm pretty sure Nintendo execs come in and start stamping on the remains.
But anyway, moral of the story is, how does it stack up as a port?
So, Xenoblade Chronicles, we know the deal by now. A Tale of Revenge, fantastic, expansive world on such a tiny little screen.
Yeah.
Now, that kind of rings a little bit of alarm bells. So you're thinking you're not indulging in the grandiose world of Xenoblade if you're looking at it on a tiny screen. So, I'm a bit torn.
Yeah.
So the game is completely fine. You do experience a bit of slowdown here and there. Yeah. Visuals are as good as they're going to get for a port. Yeah. Keep in mind that this isn't in-house. This is by a developer named Monster Games who have done it. So I think this is their first foray into ports and development, so to speak. So as far as, if you put those kinds of things in perspective, they've done a decent job. Visuals are fine. Gameplay is completely fine. They've retained a lot of stuff from the previous game. Yeah. And this is pretty much a one-for-one port. You're not expecting anything new, so this isn't it isn't an enhanced port by any stretch.
There's no additional content that comes on top.
Not that it needs it anyway.
No,
this game,
of course,
you're looking at 80 to 100 hours.
The big thing that I guess the limit of space, the biggest effect that's going to, like a lot of the people who would play this kind of games is going to be bothered by, is that it is only the English dub.
Yes.
Like, how did you still find that it was okay because you played it previously?
Yeah, so I've played both Japanese and English dub. English dub I find really charmful and cutesy. It's better than just the standard American, you need to buckle up and that kind of deal. But as far as that's concerned, the game is really rare to find on Wii, so it's really hard and expensive to come by. This is a pretty good compromise despite some shortcomings. I mean, I'm pretty sure you'd agree with that as well. Yeah, you really feeling it? Yeah.
Now, you know, in my pursuit of mobile games, I always try and avoid things that have microtransactions. And then they released a One Piece one. So, guess what? We're here to look at One Piece Treasure Cruise, which is I guess a strategy RPG based in the One Piece universe. You basically follow the storyline. So it gives you basic understanding of what happens chronologically through the story, through either cutscenes or like single model animated like parts and things like that. So as far as the story goes, it just follows the story one for one. However, what you do is you get a bunch of characters to join you. So you'll do a fight and you'll get a wanted poster, and so then you get the character to then join you. But you can also use them to roll into your main characters to power them up. It's very similar to the Star Wars game that we looked at last year, where you have your main characters that you unlock at, say, story events, and you continue on and just unlock like lots of plebs and stuff to fill the gaps there. The tapping system in this is actually pretty complex. You tap the different characters as you want them to do their combos. There's a timing element to it. So it actually has some kind of strategy / gameplay attached. The problem is, of course, there's a stamina bar. So once you're out of stamina, you've got to wait a certain amount of time before you can continue on. There's in-game purchases. There's random chances. There's gems. There's currencies. So it's got all of those problems that these kind of free-to-play games generally have. However, I guess maybe it's the theme, and maybe it's the fact there's a little bit of like tactical nature to it. Works for me. I actually enjoyed my time with it. However, free to play. Can't recommend it, but hey, it's free. Well, it's the time of the winter blockbuster. Age of Ultron, Avengers came out. Hooray!
It's one of the first sort of big sequel franchise blockbusters that are coming out this year. We've got a few of them. Star Wars, Jurassic Park, just to name a few.
What are they going to do to those movies? It's going to be any better?
Not involve George Lucas.
We'll see. Anyway, Avengers.
And both of those will be better than the Terminator film.
That's very true, though. We're doing commentary. We're not even discussing the movie. Avengers. It was the first one this bad.
You set the tone up straight away. I don't think this was actually a bad film. However, it wasn't a very good film.
No, I think perhaps like this is the issue with having these kind of like conglomerations of movies is it has to finish off the themes that started in 7 different movies.
Yep.
And then can like set up the next 10.
Yes.
Like, how do you make a movie with a decent story in that situation?
And it has to serve all these characters. It has to make $1 billion, otherwise it's a failure. So how do you make that money? You need inbuilt advertising, so you need to have cars.
Not even subtly. Do you want to buy an Audi or some Beats headphones or
Corona? No, that's Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Whoops. But so there's a lot of nice little moments in here. Some nice action, some good character interactions. Some of the actors are a lot better than others.
Like I said to you when I walked out of cinemas, Chris Evans is wasted in Marvel, and there's 15 minutes of movie ruined by 2 hours of dreck, just utter dreck. And I think that's my issue with it is I'm not invested in the Marvel universe. The only ones I liked were Guardians of the Galaxy and Winter Soldier. I'm not invested in the universe. I'm not invested in the people. I don't find Tony Stark funny. So what's in it for me?
Not a lot, obviously. You're talking probably you would have liked some of this film, but yeah. And I think you wouldn't be a huge fan of the first one either.
Yeah.
I think you would have liked it more because it was a better film.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there was a point where like the big action scene started, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom now.
Yeah, and you just got up.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna go for half an hour.
Do you know what we should have done instead? Watch Battle Royale again, because Netflix came to Australia and it brought me the bounties of the international seas. It brought me Outrage, it brought me Battle Royale, it brought me anime subbed and dubbed. It's fantastic. But Battle Royale...
You lost me at anime subbed
Yeah. But Battle Royale, I guess it's the prototype for Hunger Games, yeah?
It is a classic film.
Yeah, so it's basically... You know, they take a class of kids, they put them on an island, they make them fight each other. The one that survives wins, blah, 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 blah. But the Hunger Games didn't have Takeshi Kitano or Beat Takeshi. The acting in this is great. The scenarios in this, they don't have to pull their punches as hard as
I mean, it's a dystopian future, but it's not like we are set up into 12 clans and this is
a
this
believable. It's
yeah.
a believable dystopian future. Everything about it just works, and I think Takeshi Kitano sells it. The way that he acts, what he does in that movie, just sells it. And I really think that that's what we should have done with our time instead of watching the Avengers.
Hello and welcome to Planeswalker Plus. I'm your host, Alice Clark. This week we are going to be playing with the shiny, the new 2014 Commander decks. They came out at the end of last year and they were really, really fun. They are monocolor decks. They've got singletons, so there's no more of one of any card except for basic lands. There's 100 in the deck, and for the first time ever, we're allowed to use Planeswalkers as commanders, which is going to make something a little bit interesting. Obviously, I won't be playing with blue because it's blue. I'll be playing with green.
So I'll be playing the white deck led by Nahiri the Lithomancer. So I'm going to be making a lot of tokens and either making them really big or making them a lot of them or putting on some really powerful equipment to either get me more advantage or make my creatures even bigger and hopefully defeat my opponents with that.
And I'll be trying to gain lots of life and use that life to my advantage to card draw and things like that, and also drain that life from all of my other opponents.
The red deck is all about getting artifacts on the table that do something, then sacrificing them to do something, and then bringing them back again and again and again and again to kill everyone else on the table. Should be good.
I'm going to be playing with the green deck, which is really, really cool because I have Freyalise, Lenoir's Fury, who she's really into making elves, and then those elves give you mana. So then you can make more creatures, and then you have more elves, and then you can use those elves to overwhelmingly crush everyone until they're dead. And so then you win. Let's play.
So I got off to a really quick start with a turn 2 Duretti. So I was able to sort of shape my draws and dress the cards and start doing shenanigans. But the problem is I've beaten Alice in a game of Magic once, and she's never forgotten it and will kill me first every chance she gets, which is what happened this time, unfortunately.
And I had a really sound strategy which paid off, where from the opening hand I had a very good board wipe to destroy all the creatures on the board, except for some of my own, which was really, really good. So I sat on that for most of the game and was able to get maximum value off it.
Well, I won my first Commander game, which I'm quite proud of, but I wasn't quite sure how the deck worked because I thought there was going to be more life gain than there was me using life to do other things. But in the end it worked. I didn't use the Commander as much as I hoped to, but yeah, there was a card in there I really loved, the Demon, which sucked life out of everyone, but no one would let me play it.
Well, that was an epic game that lasted 4.5 hours with high highs and low lows that slowly sucked the will to live out of my eyes and heart and soul, and what I'm saying is that I lost. But I did manage to do more than 90 damage in one turn, killing Prospect, which I am very proud of. And then 2 turns later, I was brutally killed by Oz due to a slight oversight in my mana count. But still, it was a really fun game, and what I learned is that these decks are really great straight out of the box. You can just play with them and they work really well and it's really exciting. But if you want to tinker with them, you totally can. Like Oz wants more life gain in his black deck, and you can make that happen. So really, there is no downside, and they play however you want, and that's just really cool. See you next time.
Welcome to Old Game Plus. Now, we do a lot of retro streams. Every Sunday night we do a retro stream. And so we have to go back and find old versions or copies of the old games. Sometimes it doesn't go as smooth as we'd like.
No. Recently we tried to do a stream of Psychonauts. And that game apparently has changed hands in who owns it, like who publishes it recently. And so I couldn't find my hard copy, so my disc copy in its box with its manual. So I tried to re-download my digital copy on Xbox Live, and I could not because, as I said, the publisher had changed.
So even though you own the game, you paid for it.
Well, I paid for it. I thought I owned it, but no.
This is an interesting one, isn't it, for digital games that I think a lot of people don't realise that digital contents generally, people don't own it, do they?
No, we don't seem to be able to take ownership of it because, you know, like if we die, can we leave it to our kids? No.
If publisher changes, can you imagine somebody from a shop turning up and saying, sorry, we no longer have rights to sell this, we're going to have to take it back? Because that's sort of what happens.
It is.
Yeah, now, we've few stories coming out about Konami,
and Kojima,
PT. I mean, where are people going to be left with that?
Well, yeah, in 2 years' time, if I want to re-download my Metal Gear Solid HD collection and play it, who owns it? Me, Konami, Kojima, who?
So there's always a chance that you may not be able to. Now, even on Steam, you've got there's a facility for developers to ban people from playing games. Again, a game you've already paid for, you can be banned. Now,
so what would happen if, you know, for instance, hypothetically, if a portal to another dimension opened in the Steam offices and zombies came out and everyone was left for dead, like, would you be able to still access the games off the Steam service?
It's a half-life of the Steam service. But we are looking at future retro gaming is going to be in a bit of an issue one day for the future Dermy and Oz that do their streams, getting old games, if the rights for games aren't actually owned by anybody and you go to download and they're not there for different reasons.
Yeah, retro gaming is going to be really hard in the future because, accessing all those games, unless you have a physical copy of them, will be very hard.
So retro or remake, which is better, disc or download?
Always disc, manual and everything.
Very retro. A lot of issues with digital downloads. I think there's a lot more coming up, which we should talk about in the future. Stick with discs for now.
Yeah.
Retro remake,
yes.
Discs.
Just Cause 3. Pre-order now to secure the exclusive weaponized vehicle pack. Coming holiday 2015.
That was basically the Just Cause equivalent of a Call of Duty trailer. But, I mean, I'm excited for it. I love Just Cause 2 so much. So much fun.
It was you could get up to such havoc in that game. You can make a car explode, you can make a plane explode, you can tie that car to that plane to make it explode.
The thing that I like most about in this trailer is the jet, ramming it into the ground, jumping out and pulling the parachute. I do that in Battlefield all the time. That is like my signature move. Need to get to the point.
So what you like about Just Cause the most is that it's like Battlefield.
That's the wrong thing to take from this trailer. This trailer, a lot of the grappling hook, a lot of the wingsuit is obviously new.
Of course.
And the parachuting, which was the main thing from Just Cause 2, just grappling stuff and parachuting. It was
and the stunts
awesome
position,
fun.
so much stunts position.
Yes.
Did I mention explosions? So many explosions. Michael Bay, well, his trousers would be absolutely sodden afterwards.
So the Battlefield series, Cardi, much loved, one of those great franchises that a lot of people love to play. And the last few years for it, though, haven't been particularly stellar, if we're being that honest. So like the diminishing returns from, say, Bad Company 2 into 3 was like, 3's still a good game and takes itself a little bit more seriously, but that's fine. And then 4, and it's kind of like, great, I can blow up buildings. And now Hardline.
So this is going to be the part where we don't really usually see eye to eye when it comes to being angry and disappointed about games, but this game in particular, Battlefield Hardline,
it's trash.
Is where we're going to meet middle ground. So
spoilers. Yeah.
Battlefield Hardline is basically a kind of a take on Miami cop.
So he's a Miami cop, and you see him being a cop, and then things happen, and suddenly he's not a cop.
Yes.
Spoilers.
So this is Nick Mendoza, a Cuban cop who dabbles in a lot of crooked coppery.
Yes.
I'm not even sure if that's a word. A lot of strange happenings going on in the town of Miami and Korean car dealerships.
Yeah, so the game itself, I guess the biggest issue with it is the fact that they could have played it either comical or they could have played it straight. They could have said, here's a straight-laced cop game where the idea is to not kill people, to arrest people, to do this, to investigate crimes. And I think that would have been a great game. Or they go goofy,
Fast and the Furious, Miami Vice shit, and they just go straight over the top, and they go like, whoa, blah, 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 blah. But they didn't do either. They sat in this middle ground of, here's these high-tech gadgets, but you better be super serial. Except when you're shooting at people with a shotgun right in the face, when they've pretty much surrendered anyway. But there's no penalty for that. Just shoot them. Just shoot them. It's like America at the moment, actually. Funny.
I think it reflects through the gameplay as well, where the game gives you a fair few choices. So a lot of weaponry that you'd expect from previous Battlefield games. Who would have thought? No surprises there. But there's also some really cool things like, grappling hooks that get you to certain areas. It allows you to explore. Not really much there involved. Stun guns as well. But the problem is that the game encourages you to arrest people, go the non-lethal route. But it rewards you with lethal weapon attachments and enhancements.
Which, when it's all said and done, is to get you to play the multiplayer. But I still say that if you're going to make a multiplayer game, don't bother with a single player experience. If you're not going to put effort into it, don't do it. So, as a way of introducing these different mechanics, I guess it works. Because the multiplayer, it's fine, but it takes away from the whole concept of Battlefield. The idea of Battlefield was to have these battles taking place over this large battlefield to try and simulate a theater of war. This, by its sheer nature, is way more Call of Duty than it is Battlefield.
It seems like, the whole Frostbite thing is just an excuse, like a tech demo nowadays, to let's just forget about narrative because it's absolute trash. Every single character in the game is a complete cliche. They're completely incompetent at their jobs as well. These cops who are, physically and mentally at their peak, suddenly clouded by personal judgment and shit, like, fuck off. It really made me angry. It's completely offensive to people, to cops working in Miami, and I just could not wait until I finished it. And it
was, look, don't play it for the single player. If you're going to play it for the multiplayer, Battlefield 4 still got a scene. Don't bother. Just don't bother.
Agreed.
So Jason and Matt are the biggest fans of Battlefield Hardline. What about yourself, Tim?
I don't know, I've always been a Battlefield fan, but it's been feeling very samey since Battlefield 3. And ever since they introduced Battlelog can go screw itself, because I do not like that system.
Well, you don't love downloading that plugin almost every time you want to play that game?
Yes, the browser plugin. But that said, I've still been playing Battlefield 4 online with some few friends, but Hardline just... The single player isn't enough to get people to come and play it, and the multiplayer isn't different enough. Like, there's a few good new modes, but other than that, it just feels like there's not much there.
It seems like it's like the redeeming long-term feature for Hardline is the current-gen console multiplayer, which can support some sizable numbers.
That's true. But I guess they're going to have to look at the game when the next iteration comes out, whether it's a year, whether it's 2 years, and really think about how they're going to change it up, because they can't just keep doing what they're doing and expect that everyone's just going to carry over from the popularity of Battlefield 2 and 3.
Because that formula has even started to die down for Call of Duty, because Advanced Warfare wasn't exactly the most successful iteration for sure.
Yeah, they're still getting good numbers, but they're not getting the same staying number of online players. And that's what has kept these communities alive for so long and being able to keep the hype up for the next games.
But that's a much, much bigger issue altogether.
Yes, it is.
One that we'll save for future weeks.
Yes. But something that I need to bring up, because we've been doing some new stuff with our streams. New Kid Plus, I think it's called. Tuesday nights after school.
Yeah, of course.
Have a look at it. We've got Gerard's kids playing some games. Last week they played Mario Kart. They'll be playing something different this week. Certainly check it out. It's something cool and different, but we should wrap it up. Visit our website, www.newgameplus.tv.
Like us on Facebook at NewGamePlusTV.
Follow Twitter and Instagram at NewGamePlusTV.
And follow us on YouTube and Twitch at NewGamePlusTV.
Thank you, Donald.
Thank you, Tim.
We'll see you guys next week.